Hello. It is chapter 10, the final chapter of The 50th Law by Robert Greene and 50 Cent. I know it's not Wednesday, but we're here and we made it. I've been traveling. Um, chapter 10 is all about the sublime and confronting morality. In the face of morality, we have two choices. The first one is to attempt to avoid the thought at all costs that our time here is not forever and that it's temporary. The second is to confront reality, accept and embrace that death does happen to us all, and we cease to exist on this planet. 72. People talk about my getting shot like it represented something special. They act like they're not facing the same thing, but someday everybody has to face a bullet with his or her name on it. 50 Cent. Unlike any other animal, we are conscious of our morality, and this is the source of all of our fears. There's a feeling of intense pain and separation being aware of your own death, and that there is a time limit on this planet that we are unaware of when and how it'll happen. Because we come here not knowing when we'll leave. Everyone's time of departure is different. It almost seems as if death will cancel out all of our efforts and makes everything meaningless. Because it's why are we doing all of this? Why are we here? Why do I feel all these things? Will I be able to feel things after I die? Have I left my mark on earth? Have I done everything I wanted to while being here before I cease to physically exist on this plane? And there are two solutions as humans that we have conjured up, which is the concept of afterlife, depending on to each our own beliefs. And the second is to try to stay as present as possible to the moment you're in. Bury yourself in the now, because that's what we really have. Yeah, we have fragments of our past, and our future is yet to exist. So it's why even stay in the past or future when they just aren't right in front of you? Death represents the ultimate reality. It's a limit to our days and efforts in a definitive fashion. Death is what adds that extra edge to life. Accepting that I'm gonna die, you're gonna die, that we're all gonna freaking not be here one day. It's alright, so what am I gonna do now? What's not working in my life right now? What would I like to experience in my life, and how do I get there? Because you are capable in this moment to do what you want and need to do more than ever. The time in the past is gone. So it's don't sulk that you wasted that time. The time in the future will be approaching as you live, as you breathe. So might as well start now. So when you do get to that future point, you're already further or accomplished what you wanted. And I think there's something really interesting when it comes to stoicism and accepting death, learning how to die, because it teaches you how to live. I actively can say with myself that I'm doing things every day to mold and shape my reality and my being and my soul into what I see fit for what I am, my goals. And let's say something were to happen where I cease to exist next week or in a few days, at least I went out trying. You know what I mean? Like I'm doing it. I'm actively working towards it. Um, and we should all be that way. We should all be actively, passionately be working towards something we love, telling the people that we love them, being kind, being resourceful, taking advantage of the time we have, because we just don't know when it's going to end. And like, God forbid something were to happen sooner rather than later. But that's why gratitude comes into play, giving thanks, being present in the moment. This hair is absolutely ridiculous. By confronting your reality, no matter how long you have, you choose to live your days well, with intention, with grace. That adds such a flair to life. And now, let's go to page 278. There seems to hover somewhere in that dark part of all of our lives an objectless, timeless, spaceless element of primal fear and dread, stemming perhaps from our birth. A fear and dread which exercises an impelling influence upon our lives. And accompanying this first fear is, for that of a better name, a reflex urge toward ecstasy, complete submission and trust. Richard Wright. In the past, death was a lot more present when it came to the physicality of like plagues, natural disasters, dying in the home, our own family members. In today's day and time, it seems almost like banished. Mainly you're seeing it on films, online, or unfortunate events occurring around the world. It's not as like in your face. It's almost, the book describes it as something seen as abstract or taboo. Sublime. Sublime in Latin is meaning the threshold or the doorway. It is a thought or experience that takes us to the threshold of death, giving a physical imitation of the ultimate mystery. So when you find that sublimity within death and what it can do to actually sprout that seed and flourish your life, and then compel you to do new things and move in a more meaningful way, then you've unlocked another key to success. And sublime in any form can evoke feelings of drive and power. So take it, we're talking about it with the topic of death, and that we are not all physically eternal here, but relate it to other goals and things you'd want to accomplish. There's always that like threshold, that in between, the path between the portals. The sense of rebirth, the feeling of having your soul pulled out of your body like a handkerchief, is a sublime sensation. So let's say you have a specific scenario and you feel the control that you thought that you had, that you never had, slipping from your fingers. You're like, oh shit. If that's with like a relationship, a work situation, anything, like stability in the home, no matter how small it is or serious, if it's almost leading to death, it brings a realization that we might not make it through this. This is a life-altering situation. So you must raise your levels of effort to get through it. You must continue forward, because if not, it'll consume you. And within that process expands your mind and sensations and emotional maturity. You gain wisdom. And once you get past it and you're a bit more grounded and through that footing, you're standing, and you have more of an appreciation of life and a desire and a desire to live more fully. The sense of rebirth, because yes, we were born, out of our mud initially. But looking back at your life, if you can reflect for a second, how many rebirths have you had, no matter how minuscule or large they've been? They're endless. Life is a constant cycle of death and rebirth. I don't think it ever ends. The sense of evanescence and urgency. When looking at life in a limited scope of just the present moment and stretching it just to like a few, like let's say weeks in advance, it can distract you from like overall events and like possibilities in life. So when you're taking that like lens and scoping it out more from a sublime variety, you, like we've talked about many chapters in the past, you look up and you look out and you get a very realistic, refreshing visualization of what's going on. Because when you're looking more from a limited scope, it can make it seem like very small things that come up in life and like small mountains you have to cross are a lot bigger than what they actually are. And remembering that nothing is permanent at all. Like nothing is. If that's, wealth, beauty, like different architecture, everything is always changing. It's either elevating or eventually diminishing into nothing and ceasing to exist. The positives of looking at life from like the sublime variety is it helps with your sense of urgency. It just is a nice reminder that, hey, we're not here forever. So when you're like, I'm going to start next week. Oh, I'm going to start next month. Oh, I'll start next year. Like, how many times are you going to say that till there is no next week, next month, or next year? And that's not even guaranteed to you. So it's like, how dare you assume that you even have that time? It gives you a better grasp on just reality and what truly matters. Like, you're not going to want to spend your time dealing with drama and little bullshit and just unnecessary things. It's like you can clearly use your intuition and discernment to be like, yeah, you know what? I'm not even going to go down that route, or I'm not going to even entertain this person because it's a waste of time. And then it gives you the appreciation for the passage of time. It gives you an appreciation from where you once were to what you're actively doing to where you'll hopefully end up. It makes you, instead of fearful of time passing, feel more alive in it. You live to experience time. And even if you aren't actively choosing to do so, you're doing it without knowing it. So you might as well be aware and fully be able to appreciate it for what it is. Everything is fleeting. Everything is fleeting. Nothing lasts forever. That we can factually prove. So, remember that. The sense of awe. The sense of awe can be elicited as something vast and strange. All right? So, like, imagine endless landscapes, if it's the sea or the desert. Or let's look at the pyramids of Egypt, huge monuments from our past that hold so much mystery. But we have like that feeling, we have that inner knowing, that sense of like, wow, this is bigger than us, this is beyond us. And that's the beauty of God's creation. Being able to look and move in life with the sense of awe in the details of everyday life, observing flowers or animals as you move along your days, like just observing human interaction, Like, let's say you're going to the grocery store, or like you're just going about your day, like stuff like that. Pay attention to the details, because it just brings a lot more saturation and gratitude into your life. And in our routines of doing things every day, we are routined by nature of being human beings. In this artificial world, being able to look at the details is very therapeutic and inspiring. And from a creative standpoint, I completely agree, because I get inspired by like the weirdest things. Like, you wouldn't even expect it. Like, I'll be running my errands, or even if it's like dropping a package off at the store, and then like in between, I'm just observing while I'm driving. Like, something will come up and I see something, I'm like, wow. And then that sticks with me. And then I use that for like anything I'm going to create, for example. The sense of oceanic, the connection to all life. All death is the same. We all experience death. We should all have compassion of a person that is going to die, or is dying, or is dead. Okay? This is certain. If you're born, you die. And no matter what someone's accomplished in their life or what they've done, death is death. And we all share the same fate. And sharing that same fate ultimately links us all together. And then if you take it from a bigger perspective, with animals, plants, all of that, anything that's born dies. So we are truly all connected on this planet, on this earth. And that's where that oceanic feeling comes from, that we are all intertwined, um, with one fated destiny at the end. Whatever happens in between, that's our own journey. But we all do have the same ending. Page 288. When I nearly died, it made me think, this can happen again any second. I better hurry and do what I want. I started to live like I'd never lived before. And then the fear of death is gone. Then nothing can bother you and nobody can stop you. 50 Cent. So this is the last chapter of the 50th law. And if you take anything away from chapter 10, it's to not be afraid of death. Which I know is like a very heavy thing to not be afraid of. But it is the one thing that we all know is going to happen. And if you know that time is temporary here, why not go for it? Why not go for the things that you're scared to go for? Because at the end of the day, you're going to die. I'm going to die. So this was a really cool book. I enjoyed it. I feel like you could get a lot out of the 10 chapters. I know I did. And if you have been watching this through the intro to the end, thanks for sticking around, and I hope you enjoyed. Stay authentic. See you later. I am going to take a break from the book stuff, but there will be more exciting things along the way.